Hello everybody, and welcome to the next video in the eOPSEC 101 course, or OPSEC for Absolute Beginners. In the first video, I did briefly go over what OPSEC is, and I showed you what things we're going to discuss in this beginner course. There will be other things than what were shown in the slideshow in the last video, but I did promise that we were going to start with VPN and DNS. Now, before we get into what VPN you should get, we're going to briefly discuss what a VPN is. This video won't take very long, but I feel like you definitely should watch it before you go and try to download a VPN for yourself. So the first obvious question is, what is a VPN? A VPN is a virtual private network. It encrypts your data, and the way that it does this is, we talked about tunneling in the last video very briefly. It sends your information from your personal device, in this case, to a server, and this information is encrypted on the fly. So hackers in the same network as you or other adversaries who are trying to get a hold of your data are not going to be able to get it. Also, when you use HTTPS, your data is encrypted on its own, but when you're using HTTP, which is the same platform basically, but that has no encryption, a VPN will still be able to protect you because it does the encryption for you. So you can use HTTP while using a VPN, and it basically provides the same benefit as HTTPS. It bypasses geolocation restrictions as well, and the way that it does this is your traffic is no longer showing up as coming from where you are. So say that you are in the United States and you're using a VPN in, we'll say, Barbados, right? All of the traffic that goes to the website is going through the VPN first, and because of that, all of that traffic is going to show up as coming from Barbados. So if you're trying to browse things like, I don't know, we'll just say like private news websites that aren't available in the United States, but that are available in Barbados, you will now be able to view them because, again, it looks like it's coming from a different country entirely. And that ties into appearing to come from somewhere else. So there are 4 types of VPNs we're going to discuss in this course. There are other ones, but they're not going to be relevant for what we're talking about. So the first one is a site-to-site VPN. This is basically moving traffic from a private network to another private network, and this is mostly for businesses, and we're not going to talk about this one very much here. But the way that it works is it has the encryption method and the transport method on both servers, and you don't need any special software in order to be able to use that. A remote access VPN, which is what we're going to be using in this course, is sending your data from your personal device, such as a phone, a tablet, a laptop, a computer, whatever else have you, to a private network server. So it's like site to site, except one of those private networks are your own personal network and your own personal device. Cloud VPN kind of works the same as remote access VPN. We won't touch on that one too much for what we're doing here, but basically what a cloud VPN is, it sends your personal data to the cloud, and it can use any number of those servers to basically transport that data. It's a little more effective, but you have a little less control over what server it uses and how it actually works. And then the last one is the Secure Sockets Layer VPN, or SSL/TLS VPN. We're not going to discuss that one too much in this video, but if we get into a part where I have to discuss it more in depth, that's when we'll do that. So now we have single hop and multi-hop VPNs. For what we're going to be discussing is a single hop VPN. And a single hop VPN allows you to send your data from your computer to the VPN server to the internet. A multi-hop VPN sends your data from your computer to a VPN server, to a VPN server, to a VPN server, and then to the internet. Might not be that many, might be even more than that, but that's how multi-hop works. Multi-hop is usually 2-hop, but there are VPN providers that use more than 2 VPN servers. If you've ever used Tor and you're routing your data through the Tor network before it reaches the website you're trying to look up, I believe Tor routes it through 3 different networks before it routes it directly to the website. We're not going to use multi-hop VPN much, but we will discuss it once we get to the 4th video in this course, which will be for iVPN. So now we're going to discuss, is a VPN right for you? And before you watch any further in this course, I have to tell you, if you decide that a VPN is not right for you, that is perfectly fine. You know, OPSEC isn't for everybody. But if you're not going to use a VPN, there is absolutely no reason to look in this course anymore, because a VPN is the absolute bare necessity for getting into OPSEC. It's going to be one of the tools in your toolkit when you care about your online privacy. But if you don't have it, then there's no point in doing anything else at that point. So the first pro is protecting your identity and information. We've already discussed that. Your information will be encrypted, your data will be safe, and the only person that you're passing it along to is the VPN provider. And we'll get into that in about a minute or so. And again, you bypass geolocation blocks because your data is not appearing to come from your computer, it's appearing to come from the server itself. So there are 3 cons here, and I'll get into a little bit of a hidden con because it doesn't have to do with VPNs directly. The first con is slower internet speed. You're sending your data from your device to a VPN server, in this case just one, and then you're sending it to the website. That's going to consume additional traffic, and as a result, it's going to take a little longer to get your data from point A to point B. If you're using a fast, let's say you're using, I don't know, Starlink, right? You know, they have 1 gigabit plus internet speeds. You're not going to notice any difference at all. If your connection is that fast, it's basically like browsing 2 different websites, right? Increased latency. Again, this has to do with the fact that you're routing it through multiple servers. It's going to take longer to get there, and as a result, you might see a little bit of increased latency or ping when you're playing like online games, or when you're really doing anything online, but you're really only going to notice that during real-time interactions, like live streaming, or watching videos, or playing video games that require an internet connection. And then possible account suspension and termination. In 2025, you really don't have to worry about things like that very often. Really, the biggest issue that you're going to have with this is Google. But even in that case, 1, we're not going to be using Google for this course, and you shouldn't be at all. And 2, even if you do, they used to suspend your internet connection temporarily, but now they just ask that you complete a quick CAPTCHA. Now, there is one additional con that is here that I didn't put on the slide purposefully. And you may have noticed that I said the only people that would have your data when you're using a VPN is yourself and the VPN server. In some cases, the really good VPN providers have a no-log policy, which means that they don't even have your information. It's either encrypted to them so they can never use it, or they discard it permanently. They have nothing to do with it, and if federal authorities come trying to subpoena them for your data, or just anybody's data, they won't be able to provide it. So now we're going to get on to where to start. So the first 2 videos we're going to do is going to be for Proton VPN. This is a free method. It does have a premium method, but there's absolutely no reason to buy it. And we're going to discuss how to do it for Windows and for Linux. Then we're going to discuss iVPN, which I put was free. That is an absolute lie. I apologize I did that. That is a paid method and would cost about $6.50 a month. However, if you really care about your online privacy, I would go with iVPN, even though it's paid. You can absolutely start with Proton VPN, but we'll get into more for those specific VPN providers in the next videos. I just want to point out iVPN is not free. And in the future, when I do these comparison videos on how to install and how to use things, the vast majority of these will have a method for Windows as well as Linux. This will not be a Mac OS course, and very little, if anything, in this course will be about Mac OS. There will be some videos about iOS, which is the Apple method for, iPhones. But as far as Mac computers go, there won't be anything about it in this course. But that is it. That has been a brief explanation of VPNs. Obviously, that doesn't discuss everything on a computer science level, but you really don't need to at this point. But yeah, the next video will be Proton VPN, which is the free VPN method for Windows. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and a comment. Any interaction with this convinces me to keep going. And of course, if you really enjoyed and you want to see new videos in the future, please consider subscribing. My name is James Martin. You guys have been amazing, and I will see you in Proton VPN for Windows.